On this one, we're going to read the pamphlet, The Garbage of Gambling, by W.B. Riley. Yeah, gambling is a sin. Of course, you buy the lottery and all that stuff. They say, well, it's an idiot tax. You're wasting your money buying the lottery. I don't spend money on the lottery because I cannot afford that dollar. But, if you win, you win. I have played a lottery. I've won money in the lottery. The most I've won is $100 twice. One time I got 4 numbers in a row, and that sucks in a way. I mean, you think it's good, but when you get the 4th number, you expect the 5th, and the 5th is close, and the 6th number is close. Oh man, that'll piss you off. But anyways, here we go. Proverbs 16:8. Better is a little with righteousness than the great revenues without right. Gambling is not a modern art, but in its different forms and phases, it can be traced back for centuries and millenniums into every nation and tongue that's ever existed beneath the sun. With some people it has been more ranked than with others, but no generation has escaped its seductive fascinations. What new thing then could one be expected to say on so old a theme? Now, personally, my opinion on gambling is this. I don't see the big problem unless you're spending large sums of money. And some people, they get a second job just so they can buy lottery tickets. You go to Vegas or whatever. I really could care less if people gamble. That's their business. But of course, if you're going to end up like this, you might want to think twice. You don't want to end up like this. I didn't end up like this because of gambling. I'm not into that. Many years ago, there was a bunch of poor people wanting to express their appreciation of Parson's faithful services, started a solicitation to buy the parson a horse. When the papers had gone their rounds, it was found that $19 had been pledged, so the people made haste to purchase such a steed as could be had for that amount. They brought him to the parson, who, having duly returned his thanks, put the horse in the side lot. Shortly, a jockey passed that way, and seeing the animal, made some scurrilous remarks as to his physical appearance, declaring that he was rather the worst piece of horseflesh he'd ever seen. The parson replies with righteous indignation, "This is a better horse than my Lord rode on into Jerusalem." Thereupon the jockey climbed over the fence, examined the animal's teeth, and turning to the parson said cynically, "Parson, this is the very same horse. The things I shall say are aged, some of them doubtless 19th century old and more, but like the parson's horse, they may be serviceable still and properly illustrated. Gambling is dishonest. The basic principle of all honest dealing between men in that business transaction shall promote mutual advantages." Gambling is not dishonest because when you buy a lottery ticket or you go to Vegas, chances of you winning is almost zero. The house always wins. You're probably most likely going to lose. But if you win, you're going to win. So it's not really dishonest. It's dishonest if they lie to you and say, yeah, you're going to win. You have a very good chance of winning. Yeah, you're going to win. Just do it. Just put that $5,000 on the table, Be like that National Lampoon's Vegas Vacation. You just keep giving that money, but you're going to win. You're going to win. And then you just never win. That's dishonest. When that does not occur, we say somebody was guilty of cheating. When did the professional gambler, or even the greatest novice in the art, ever dream of making the game contribute to another man's wealth, as well as their own? Does not every visitor to the hole of green cloth go there with fixed purpose to rob his brother if possible, and thereby enriching himself? No, they're not robbing. They just want to win themselves. That's all. They're not trying to rob somebody. Everyone is willing in this. Boston is a great center of literary cultures, and that culture has affected the speech of the women particularly until they make the most elaborate words to do service for small occasions. One day, Mr. and Miss Emerson were sitting together in their Boston home when she turned to him and said, "Browning, dear, what is a cutaneous pastime?" "A cutaneous pastime, my love? I never heard of such a thing." "Well, on the train this morning I heard 2 men talking. One of them spoke of a skin game. That's gambling. The scalp of the other fellow is the purpose of each player. The only difference between the motive of the highway robber and that of the man who throws the dice or fingers the cards or bets on the turning wheel is that one proposes to rob his fellow with his consent while the other proposes to rob him whether or not he consents. The fact of robbery remains as an ulterior motive, whether the man accomplishes it with a 7-shooter or a 7-up, or whether he wins by using a sledgehammer or his knowledge of the old sledge, blah blah blah. Dishonest gains means dishonored gold. We often wonder how a man ever reaches the point where he can handle money gotten at gambling without feeling defiled by the touch. I don't know. I felt fine when I won the $100 in the lottery. You know, I've won more money than I lost. So hey, and of course there's a trick to lottery, increasing your chances of winning. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win. Just choose numbers and just keep playing those numbers each and every time. Also, you know, if you're going to buy the scratch-offs, don't buy one here, one there, one this. Buy the same one. That way you get the whole roll, $5, $10, whatever. You're more likely going to win. I know someone who spent $10, bought a whole roll, $10, and won 60. That's not bad. It was his first time ever. But that's sometimes one. Now, I don't guarantee you anything by telling you that what I just told you. I don't guarantee you any winnings. We have sometimes wondered what newspapermen do with the money they take for ads that invite the youth to visit the enter rooms of perdition. In wet waters do these men wash their hands to take away the stain of a brother's blood. But if that question could be answered, here is a more difficult one still. How shall the gold gotten from some green youth without giving him any sort of exchange, or from the father whose children shall cry for bread because he gambled and lost, ever be so cleansed from that the winner can buy bread with it that will not choke or poison his own wretched wife and children? Gambling degrades. The dishonesty of the business is not as black as stripe. Blacker still is the power to degrade the man who indulge. Young men are apt to overlook that feature. Now, if you're going crazy and giving more than you really should, you know, more money than you make, you know, come on. If you can't feed yourself and your family, maybe you shouldn't be buying lottery tickets or going to Vegas or going to the dog track or horse track or whatever, you know. And the strength and beauty of young manhood, our egotism is slow to admit the possibility of shame and degradation as our eventual lot. What young men fear is that their seniors or peers shall count them unsophisticated and green. But he that has that of which he may be justly proud, who is so green that he has not seen the inside of a gambling room, better be green than degraded. The first degradation appears in the loss of self-respect. I gambled but once. When I went away from the place where I had made my contribution to the foul vultures who lay in wait for suckers of my sort, I went in shame. In the presence of my father I felt abashed. Though my mother was many miles away when I saw her again, I could not help suspecting that some way she knew about it. The guilty conscience needs no accuser. That's because you knew you believed what you were doing was wrong and you did it anyways. That's why. The second degradation comes from condemnation of society. Often the drinking man commands social position. Yeah, true, but a drunkard does not. A drunkard is not looked upon, you know, favorably any more than a gambler. A person who goes crazy gambling. It is sad commentary upon American civilization, but it is a simple fact to say that the scarlet man, the adulterer, is not excluded from what we call the first circles, even as the indulgent neighbors bow to him with their respect if he holds political positions, social station, and great worldly possessions. But from the gambler, the greater part of society shrinks as if they fear contamination from his touch. I've never heard of that before. I knew a physician in Chicago who had married a young woman of some means. He inveigled her into the purchase of Chicago property in his name. After 2 years that ought to have been spent as a honeymoon, that young woman was white-haired, wrinkled-faced, and broken-hearted. She was a comparative stranger to me, because her husband had a few times attended my church, she came one day to my study and poured out her soul. She told how he had gambled away all his money, had mortgaged his house for a certain amount and lost that. When I went to talk with him, he attempted to defend his conduct and commiserate himself as unfortunate. He is a great fool who expects to be anything else than unfortunate, yet attempts to get gold by gambling. I have often thought that this evil art never does its worst to a single man. It is when the husband and father degrades not only himself, but his house and family, that heaven must weep. It is then that the angels know how this serpent of green has struck venom into the flesh of wife and child, and his slimy coil is crushing the home. Oh boy. You know, he just goes on and on about how evil gambling is and you're bad to gamble, and, you know, doesn't really come out and call it a sin, which is amazing. Doesn't seem to yet. The game dethrones, but gambling degrades to dethrone. One, it dethrones character. It's not a question merely of self-respect, but a question of manhood. When an older brother was about to graduate, mother was expecting to witness the first exercises of the school. In the night previous to the day on which she was to start for the college, she sat up in her sleep and screamed until the startled house hurried to the side of her bed. Everybody came, asking what's the matter. She opened her eyes and had a dream that he was gambling. Stupid. It dethrones reason. No keen mind can long survive the strain of such excitement with the alteration of success and failure. Actually, drinking also. Some years ago, I was going down the Ohio River. A well-known minister formerly of this city was aboard the boat. He told me of his visit to Monte Carlo, the gambling hell of the earth. He spoke of how many young minds were unsettled in the beauty yet mingling, blighting spot. He said it is impossible to learn how many men and women annually commit suicide in that place. The authority takes pains to conceal the number suffering the dead speedily out of sight. Well, I imagine if you lose all your money when you thought you were going to win. I mean, gambling is probably not the smartest thing to do if you're really going to get addicted to it. If you have an addictive personality and you tend to get addicted to things, you know, you might want to seek help. I'll just say you need to seek help. If you just cannot stop gambling, please seek help. It dethrones God. No business more absolutely despises God's law. There is no institution in which his name is more often blasphemed than in which the sightless, godless of chance reigns supreme than in the room given over to gambling. No wonder the drowning man drew a deck of cards from his pocket, cast them to the great deep, saying, I don't care to be in the possession of that pack when I meet God. He must have feared that the very sight of the means by which he had robbed his fellows would revive God's memory of the godlessness of his life and the degradation of his chosen pursuit. And that's pretty much it for this. And there's a little, preacher story, probably would tell. It's not too long. And even, you don't have to hear it. It's not all that great, Basically, there's a storm. There's a flood coming. It's pouring rain. So the preacher keeps praying to God to save him. A guy comes by in the truck, says, this place is going to flood. You need to get in the truck, get out of here. Or I'll take you somewhere else. He said, no, God has saved me. And he kept praying and praying and praying. The water kept coming up. The guy in the boat came by. He's like, well, preacher, the water's coming. It's flooding. You need to get in the boat and we can take you to safety. Like, no, God's going to save me. He's praying. Next, he's on top of the church. A guy in a helicopter comes. Well, you need to, you need to come up here. We can take you home. He's like, no, God's going to save me. He's praying. Water goes above his head. He drowns. When he meets God, he asks God, he's like, God, why didn't you save me? God says, I tried. First I sent you a guy in a truck, then I sent you a guy in a boat, then I sent you a guy in a helicopter. Of course, the truth is the matter is the guy really was believing in something that didn't exist, and after he died, that was it. He was just no longer in existence. But, I like that story, though. Bye.